Welcome to RPG Maker MV Basics number 3. I'm Stratix. If you like, you can follow this and all my other gaming endeavors on my Patreon at patreon.com/Stratix. So in this episode, we're going to dive right into making a main character and then playtesting the game, if you want to call it a game. It's a workable project. So you can see that I have this character down here. And you're like, whoa, what have you done? You jumped the gun here. So, I can still show you what I did. It was insanely easy. But first, I just noticed on the left here, in the pane, I have to drop down my hierarchy of files I've got going on here. Okay, so, again, last episode we made the NPCs with some dialogue and a shop owners. So, a little bit of trouble with episode 2 was I didn't know for sure if that shop owner's dialogue and choices we had would work correctly. I'm pretty sure it does. So right here we can see. But we can actually get to playtesting this pretty quick here. Let's go back to normal town. So all you really have to do is edit. You can change your starting character around in a database, which is going to be totally new for us this time. There's a default one that's it's like a full party that you have, but you can easily change it by making sure you're in the event edit screen, and then just right-clicking a square, and at the very bottom you can choose set starting position for player. So as you can see, I just moved my player up there. But let's move it back, and that's it. We didn't really make the character, okay? When you start a new project, it gives you a default party of characters, like four or five characters, and I'll show you that in a moment. So let's go back down and right click and choose set starting position player, and bam, and that's it. And now we can play test. Maybe I should have got to that in the last one, in the last episode. But to play test, in the top menu all the way on the right, it looks like a play button. All we have to do is click on that, and it will ask you to save changes. I'm going to hit yes. And that's really loud. I'm sorry for that. We can just go to new game, get out of that. And now bam, look at this. We are playing our game. We can use the arrow keys, and you can see this is the default party the game just kind of gives you. So we're going to edit that next. But we can walk around our town. Pretty cool, huh? And look, there's Admiral Yui walking around. We set him to walk randomly around, and we should be able to talk to him. We can go up to him and hit enter to interact. And there he is. Why, hello there. I'm Admiral Yui. Nice to make your acquaintance. Have you heard the rumor of the treasure of Zero Friction Town? I heard there's a treasure chest lying around town somewhere right out in plain sight. I have no idea why a remarkable treasure would be lying out in plain sight, and no one could have found it yet, but it's true. I know I haven't found it. Have you? So we're going to end up making a chest here. But these buildings here are nothing. See? Bleh. Bleh. Can't do nothing. But this, now we can play test our event. Oh, look at it, worked. Great, so we know this works. We can enter our... Now can we exit? It does look a little weird having that door right there, but... See if it works. Yes, we appeared where we wanted. Just like we did in episode 1. Now, this one's going to be different. This is the shop, and it has a shop owner with different functionality. So let's try it. Now, let's see if we can talk to her from across... Yeah, we can. How are you? Check out my groovy stuff. Now, look at this. We have choices. Let's choose buy. Now this is where we get a sort of a sub-menu of choices. So it's buy, and look. We could choose a potion, a sword, or a hat. But we have 0 gold, so we can't afford them. what we can do, how do we exit out? I think X. X lets us exit. Very cool, though. So, I mean, we have a workable game thing, alright? So let's go ahead and exit this. And, well, let's see what happens now. Let's choose the other option as well, because we tied dialogue to it, right? Let's choose leave. Alrighty then, goodbye. Cool, huh? Alright, and we exit back out correctly. So that's working as intended. So let's go ahead and close this and go back to the editor. Now, we want to mess with our main character. I don't think we can right-click on the main character and edit this. I think we have to do this via the database. And the database, I believe, is this the little gear icons up here at the top. So we can open database. And we have all this stuff on the left. Actors, classes, skills, all this jazz. And this is all database items and where you can like alter things. But we're not going to mess with that. This is an extremely basic beginning to an already basic tutorial. So we're going to go to System. And I believe this is where we have our starting party for the game title. And here's our currency. Here's a few other options by default. Display TP in battle, show player followers, vehicle images, a lot of stuff going on here, right? So let's try editing this stuff. It looks like if we double click on Harold, we just get starting party, cancel. If we right click, we can edit, and it does the same thing. So let's right click and delete these three. We want Harold. I think Harold, if I'm not mistaken, is our main person. So let's delete Marcia, and delete Lucius. And hit apply and OK. Now, we should have only one character in our party, so let's play test this. That music is so loud. Alright, yes, success! We only have our one player character, which is what we want. We only want the one dude. Now, there's things to consider, like starting equipment and weapons and armor and all that. So let's get out of this. Because here's what we can do. We can create this chest and have gold in it for him to find. And then he can go to the shop and buy his armor. But maybe I'll keep some of the armor on him. I'm not sure. But let's open the database back up. The gear icons at the top. And go to actors. And I believe here's our 4 actors, but we have to go to the actors window because we can manipulate them differently than if we went to system. So go back up to actors, choose Harold, and I think we can change his name. So let's go ahead and do that. Change it to Stratix. Or I won't do that. Let's go ahead and that's my name, Jeremy. I forgot to begin the episode by saying my name's Jeremy, aka Stratix, but that's okay. So initial level, max level. We could even write a profile for them here. We could even change the character. Here's a side view battler image, which is pretty cool. I like all that, so we'll keep it. But we would double left click on one of these to change it. And we'd go down here, see, we have all these different characters. But we're not going to do that. And same for face, if we wanted to change my look. We're going to keep it, though. Now, initial equipment, weapon, sword. Let's double-click that. And click on none. We don't want to start with any weapon. We'll start with a shield. We'll start with cloth. And let's not start with the hat, because we're going to buy the hat. So let's have no hat. So we're editing our dude here. Let's go ahead and hit apply. Hit OK. So we should have correctly edited our character there. Now I believe, I wish I knew how to turn down that volume. I think I might know whereabouts to do that. Let me see. No, it's not in here. It's not in here. Alright, well I'll look into that later. I thought there was a way to edit things like the starting volume and stuff like that. So what we want now is to go ahead and make a new map, but we have to be careful where we make that map under, where we nest it. So let's click on ZF Town, even though this, we can edit this. Let's change this, ZF World. This way it would be less confusing. Alright, now within that world is our towns, and we only have one so far. It's nested underneath. So we're going to right click on ZF World and select new, because we're going to add a new town. But this time we're going to make a dungeon and call it Deep Dungeon of Doom. And this is going to be a dungeon tile set. And I think, now I might be doing this redundantly. We might only need to just do load. Let's try that. Let's right click and hit load. And look down the list for something very overtly dungeon-esque. Ooh, look at that. We could use that. We could use stone. Well, we could do that. Slum. Could add a slum part of town. I don't want to do it. Let me go all the way down. Ancient ruins. I kind of wanted something that was just super very dungeony. I wanted something just like very dungeony. Well, this is pretty dungeony right here. Let's just choose the Cursed Cave and hit OK. Now, it should be nested to the same level as normal town. So now let's right click on it and hit Edit. And let's take a quick peek at the tools we have here. Because there's the gears are turning and the smoke's coming out of my ears again, because I believe there is a command for no, that's not it. There was a command for no, that's for the treasure. Let me think about that for a moment. But we have our Cursed Cave map. Let's shrink it down so it fits. Well, doesn't fit completely. Does town fit completely? Yeah, well, I shrunk it down way small here. Let's do it that way. Just to make it a little bit easier to see. Alright, so we're not really going to walk into it. I'm gonna just kind of fake it and make sort of like a sewer that we can enter. We're gonna do basically, I think we can just create an event to go to this map, I believe. So I want to, these are our dungeon tiles. So we kind of, we could just, let's go to map edit up at the top, because we're going to be drawing. So next to event, make sure we have that as selected. Let's right click this, let's right click on one of these blue wall tiles, and then left click, and that block at the bottom where that entrance was, and that blocks it off. I mean, we could always still make this the starting square that we magically appear in. So we close that, normal town, let's say we just enter somewhere. We can fit between this tree, so let's just back here make like, you know, like back here in the corner, we'll make something that looks, I don't know, like a hole in the ground or something, right? What's this here? Let's enlarge this. Why does it keep shrinking that? Let's enlarge it enough to see what we're doing. What's this here? That doesn't really look like... I wanted something that just basically kind of looked like a sewer we could go into. And I don't want to waste this video doing that. Here, we could say you have to go down a well. So, just... Oh, here's a hole. Yeah, there's our hole. Now that's going to be our entrance to the dungeon. Right? Whoops. I didn't mean to do that, but I didn't really... Let's switch back to event creation. Now normally we would... Let me see what happens if I hit new. No, we want to cancel that. I might have to pause real quick to refresh my memory on this, but I thought there was a way. I thought I had seen an option, some kind of a create dungeon option. Okay, so I'm going to take I'm going to pause it and be right back in like 2 seconds and take a peek at this real quick and take a do a little bit of research, refresh my memory on this. Okay, I was confusing myself with the generate dungeon marker on here. If I click on Cursed Cave, there's an option down here that says generate dungeon, and I'm not quite sure, so I left this open for us to explore, and I thought, well, let's just experiment with it. Oh, okay, I see. This is a way to expand the rooms or levels. Like, let's say we did this dungeon and had multiple levels. You can do sort of a procedural generation of your own dungeon area by pre-selecting some of the requirements, like the wall and floor, and then whether it's a maze or a room, and hit OK. We're not going to do that. So all we really need to do is make the events like we did in episode 1. So up here, when we touch, we gotta, again, make sure we're in event. We right-click on this little, well, it might not let us touch that. I don't know if we can do it on it. Let's get rid of this. Let's do it differently. Let's actually make it a door up here. just for the sake of doing it. Here. There. Dun, 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 there. So now, this is going to be our door that leads to the dungeon. So let's go to event, right click on it. I think we could do transfer if we didn't want it to be a door. Well, let's go ahead and play test it. Let's let's go to map. Let's put it all back the way we had it here. Go back to event, right click this, quick event creation and transfer. Now we're going to be transferring when our character touches this. We're going to be, I was remembering direction because it's a transfer. We're going to test it. It should be transferring us to down, bottom left to here. Hit OK. Now let's do the opposite, Cursed Cave, but we're going to do this one here. Quick event, transfer. You might not be able to see the whole window, but you should still be able to follow along here, because it was going down at the bottom of my screen off the recorder. It's going to take us, and it will plop us down right below it, let's say, right there. So let's go to normal town. Well, before we test it, let's go back to Cursed Cave, right click and edit, and what we're going to do is, if you haven't already seen it, on the right side is our encounters, which is empty, but we can double left click the first line to start adding in the enemies we're going to encounter. Now it looks like we encounter 2 of these things at a time, the default enemies that are in the database, which is fine. I'm guessing bats might be easier. So we can specify a range for the entire map, or by range ID, which I'm not exactly sure how the range ID is measured, but that's obviously to select, specific little regions. But we're going to do entire map. Okay. So we should have enemies there. Let's go back to our normal town. Now for the purpose of playtesting, we want to give a sword back to our character. So we need to do that in the database. Go to weapon. Okay, let's make sure he has a sword. Okay, now let's playtest this. This is going to be kind of loud again. I hope I can figure that out by next episode. Let's go ahead and save it. Get right out of that. Now we can go dun, 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 dun. Take our guy up here. We don't need to talk to you right now, Yui. Admiral Yui, sorry. And let's see if this works. And it does not. So we'll need to change it to a door. So we need to right click and delete. Well, we're on the event editor now. We're in the event editor. So we right click that and delete. And you can see how it went from dark to light. Now we can go to map, right click on a green tile to copy it, and then left click to make it also a green tile. Now let's just go back and make it a door in the map. Now go to event. We're going to have to delete the one on Cursed Cave now, remember. We don't want to leave our mistakes in, because that can goof things up. So let's actually fix that right now. Let's go down, let's make sure we're in the event editor, right click where we had that event and delete it. Now let's go back and pick up where we left off. Now we're in the event editor, right click, quick event transition. Let's go ahead and do a door. And this will lead to right here. Okay. Now we'll do the opposite. And let's go to map. Well, we might be able to, the door might just appear over top of that, so it might fix it for us. Let's go back to event editor and right click on the bottom tile. Quick event door. The location will appear when we go back out, will be right below the door. Okay, and okay, there. Normal town, let's go ahead and play test this. Now, we have a sword for our character. Okay, I keep getting ahead of myself. Let's also go back to Cursed Cave. Right click in the hierarchy, in the nested. Let's go to edit. Now if you look here, we can assign music and some other things to this. We could go to, let's see, when we come in here, we could click autoplay, check mark the autoplay background music, so when we enter it starts playing music. Now here's our volume and pitch, so let's right away turn this down to 50%, or 45 even, 40. Now we can, that's a battle one. We just want dungeon 1 maybe? There we go, that's good. Okay, and hit, well, we'll stop that, and that's at 40%, that's not too bad. So we'll hit OK. So now we even added music. And to maybe hit home with that, let's hit OK. And go back up to normal town, right click on normal town, edit. We could even add music to be played while we're roaming around town, right? Let's take it down to 35%. What's theme? Well, there is a stock town 1 and 2. Let's put it all the way down to 15%. And hit OK. Ooh, it's still playing. But, okay, town 1, 15%, OK. Hit OK. Now, let's go ahead and play test this. We should be able to go into the dungeon and randomly encounter some of those bat things. And it asks us to save again. That's too loud again. Ooh, there's our music. Awesome. So, we're pretending we already bought a sword. We're entering a dungeon with enemies, hopefully. Oh, and there's our new music. Now we should be able to run around and automatically run into a bad guy here by running around enough. Or not. We didn't really set up battle screens, did we? Oh, but wait. Oh, now that's too loud. It's going to kill me. We escaped. Let's get back out of here. Now that battle music is way too loud. And those things almost killed me. So some balancing might need to be done. But we got that to function. And that's the important thing, right? So I think that is pretty darn good for episode 3. So I think we will stop there. We have a lot going on already. I think we're doing pretty good for being only our 3rd episode. It's only between an hour and a half to 2 hours of actual game development. Or creation. I don't want to say development, because some people might consider, oh, you're not developing game until you're doing code. But, I'm not going to split hairs or anything. So, thanks for watching episode 3. We didn't create our chest yet. I want to actually create a chest where we can find a bunch of gold that we can then take to the shop and buy our sword and potions and hat from, and then go do some battling, and even put in a boss. Perhaps that will be the main quest objective, which leads me to the point of we need a quest. And then we'll pretty much have our first miniature game kind of done. And then I'll look into sprucing it up a little bit. Doing things like I showed how to just select a kind of battle music or background music. And then that'll be a kind of a complete working project, won't it? And from that, we can build on top of it. And we can expand our knowledge base and start learning, how to manipulate more of the tools and we'll just keep expanding from there, learning how to do more. But I really wanted to quickly get an actual kind of workable project up and running. Because that's just how my brain works. That way I know I have something complete where things make connections and are in some kind of a workable form. So thanks again for watching episode 3. Like I said, we'll do some more stuff in episode 4, and we're getting pretty close to finishing the first tiny project that we'll continue to expand and build off of. And I'll see everybody in the next episode.